All right, everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into Dustin's Mechanical, an HVAC and home services company over in New Egypt, New Jersey.
Near New Egypt.
Near New Egypt, okay. Our listeners thinking about maybe using them for some work, and, well, lucky for them, we've got their website up right now, and we are going to help figure out if they're a good fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So consider us like, the Sherlock Holmes of home improvement. We're going to put our detective hats on and figure out all the clues.
And it's not just about AC repair or anything. Like their website shows they do everything from heating and generators to pool heaters and water heaters, even indoor air quality.
Wow, so they're like a one-stop shop for like all your home comfort needs.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, for real. Sign me up for that kind of convenience.
Yeah.
So they say they work with oil, natural gas, and propane for heating. I mean, that's not super unusual, is it?
Well, you got to think about it, though, right? Not all companies out there are equipped to handle all those different fuel types. So depending on where you live and what your current setup is, that flexibility could actually be a pretty big deal.
I see what you mean. Yeah, like if you're, I don't know, more eco-conscious, you might be interested in natural gas, but if you're in a rural area, propane might be the only way to go.
Exactly. So having that expertise across different fuel types can really make a difference.
Makes total sense. Now, they keep mentioning tailored solutions all over their website. I mean, it sounds nice, but what does that actually mean for someone like, me or our listener, a potential customer?
Well, ideally, it means they're not going to try and push you into some prepackaged deal that doesn't really fit your needs or your budget.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, instead, you should be able to actually sit down with them and work out a solution that's perfect for your home and your wallet.
Okay, I'm liking what I'm hearing so far. But how do we know, right? How do we know if they actually walk the walk?
Well, that's where we go beyond the marketing stuff and look at what their customers have to say, the actual reviews. But before we get into that, I think it's worth pointing out how easy they make it to get in touch with them. I mean, they've got online booking, a phone number, even a request service button right there on the homepage.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to remove any possible obstacle from getting in touch with them.
Right.
And speaking of easy, they're really advertising that fast service guarantee.
Yeah.
Like front and center on their website.
Yeah.
I mean, if your AC goes kaput in the middle of a heat wave, that sounds pretty good, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I do kind of wonder how they managed to pull that off, especially when it's super busy, like during peak season when everyone and their mother is calling for AC repair. It would be interesting to see if the customer reviews mention anything about delays or anything like that.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so they've been serving the New Egypt area since 2010. That's a decent amount of time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shows they've got some roots in the community.
Right. Longevity definitely counts for something, especially in this business. It means they've been able to, weather the ups and downs and build up a reputation. And trust is a big deal when you're talking about people's homes and, their comfort.
Totally. Now, they've got these VIP maintenance agreements with two different tiers, gold and silver. It's almost like, choosing your level of home comfort commitment.
Yeah, like a gym membership for your HVAC system, right?
And they're pushing these low monthly prices and discounts if you've got multiple systems. Like, it's all about the value proposition.
It is a smart strategy. Because they're basically saying, hey, don't just fix the problem when it happens. Prevent it from happening in the first place. And having different tiers means they can cater to people with different needs and budgets. You're not just paying for service, you're paying for peace of mind.
Right, knowing that your systems are taken care of.
Yeah, exactly. But, the reviews are really where the rubber meets the road. Like, what are people actually saying about their experiences with this company?
Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the feedback. Now, we don't have time to go through every single review, so let's just focus on some of the big things that jump out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, one thing that really stands out to me is the praise for the technicians. Like, people are impressed with their professionalism, how well they communicate, and their ability to solve problems, even the really tricky ones.
Yeah, I saw that too. Like one customer even mentioned a technician spending over 5 hours trying to fix their heating issue.
5 hours? Wow, that's commitment.
Right. Most companies would have just given up or tried to sell them a whole new system. It seems like they really take the time to figure out what's actually wrong and get it fixed right, even if it takes a little longer.
Yeah, that shows they care about quality. It's not just about rushing through the job and moving on to the next one. And you know what else? Tons of people are shouting out the office staff, specifically someone named Amy. Apparently, she's like a customer service superstar.
I noticed that too. It's often those little things, like a friendly voice on the phone. That can really make a difference. It makes the whole experience feel less transactional and more human.
Totally agree. Now, I'm not going to lie, it's not all perfect, right? Like,
Mm.
there was one review where a job took way longer than expected because they ran into some unexpected problems.
Ah, yeah, the real world strikes again.
Right. No company is perfect, and stuff happens. But even in that case, the customer was still satisfied with the final outcome and how the company handled the situation.
Mm.
They were upfront about the delays and really worked to make things right.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. That's what you want, right? A company that takes responsibility and doesn't just try to brush things under the rug.
For sure. So we've established they offer a bunch of services, they seem to know their stuff, and they've got a decent reputation.
Mm.
But how about their local focus? Like, how do we know they're really in tune with the New Egypt area?
Well, for one thing, they have a pretty detailed list on their website of all the areas they serve. So
Yeah.
you can easily check if your town is on there. It's like them saying, hey, we're your neighbors, we guess you. And then they have this our job map thing, although we can't see it right now, but it sounds kind of
A
interesting.
little mysterious.
I know, right? I'm guessing it probably shows their active projects in the community, maybe even lets you see if they've worked on any homes near you.
Okay, close.
Like, come see what we're up to in your neighborhood. And then they're very upfront about using, like, the latest tools and technology and working with, all the top brands.
They definitely want you to know they're not cutting any corners.
Yeah, it's a way of setting themselves apart.
Yeah.
They're not just competent. They're saying they're leaders, they're innovative, they invest in the best.
Right. We've covered a lot of ground here.
Mhm.
So far, it seems like they offer a wide range of services. They prioritize customer satisfaction. They've got a skilled team of technicians, and they've built a good reputation in the community.
They're tech savvy, marketing smart, and they seem to understand the importance of being transparent and accountable. But, the real question is, how does all of this resonate with you? Like, what stands out to you as a potential customer?
That's a great question to ponder, folks. And we'll be back with even more insights in the next part of our deep dive, so stick around.
As we were looking through their website, one thing that jumped out at me was how they display their HVAC and home improvement license numbers right there, front and center.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They're saying, hey, look, we're legit. You can trust us. Not every company does that, and it definitely adds a layer of, credibility.
Totally. It shows they're properly licensed and registered to do the work. You could even, verify those numbers if you wanted to be extra sure.
Good point. Good point. It's a small thing, but it does say something about their transparency.
Mm-hmm.
And, we keep coming back to their longevity, right? Serving the New Egypt area since 2010, that's got to count for something.
It does. It really does. Think about it. They've been around long enough to see, trends come and go, technology change, the economy fluctuate. They've weathered all those storms and are still going strong.
It's reassuring, right? Like, they're not just some fly-by-night operation.
Mhm.
And they're clearly proud of their experience, too. They highlight things like 380-plus successful installations, 671-plus successful repairs, and 23-plus service calls.
Those are some impressive numbers.
Right. It gives you a real sense of their scale and expertise.
Like, they've seen it all and can handle pretty much anything you throw at them.
And, of course, we can't forget those 216-plus five-star reviews. That's a lot of happy customers.
Yeah, and while online reviews aren't always the most reliable thing in the world, that kind of pattern definitely suggests they're doing something right.
It suggests they're consistently exceeding expectations and delivering on their promises. Of course, every company gets the occasional negative review, but it's the overall trend that matters.
Exactly. It's about consistency and how they respond to those less than perfect situations. Speaking of reviews, let's actually dive a bit deeper into what people are saying. I think those firsthand accounts can give us a much better sense of what it's like to actually work with Dustin's Mechanical.
Totally agree. Like, the company's website is all about presenting themselves in the best possible light. But customer reviews can reveal those little nuances you wouldn't necessarily get from, marketing material.
For sure, for sure. I saw one review where the customer raved about their top product knowledge and pleasant to work with attitude.
Yep. Yep. And another one highlighted their expert, clean, and courteous service.
Those themes seem to come up again and again, which suggests a real company-wide focus on customer experience.
Yeah, it's not just about fixing the problem, right? It's about making the customer feel good throughout the entire process.
Exactly. That's where those soft skills, like communication, courtesy, and professionalism, really come into play.
And remember all those shout outs to Amy in the office. One customer specifically praised her exceptional service, saying she went above and beyond to help them.
It's those personal touches that can really make a difference, turn a transaction into a positive experience.
Absolutely. Another customer was super impressed with the technician's problem-solving skills. They talked about how the technician spent over 5 hours addressing our heating issue and wouldn't give up until they found the root cause.
5 hours, huh? That's dedication.
Right. Some companies might have just taken the easy way out and recommended a costly replacement, but this technician really took the time to thoroughly diagnose the issue.
Yeah, it shows they're not just looking for a quick fix.
And remember that review where the job ended up taking longer than expected because of some unforeseen complications? Even though it wasn't ideal, the customer was still happy with the outcome and how Dustin's Mechanical handled everything.
That's important, right? Like, no company is perfect, and things are going to go wrong sometimes. It's how they respond to those challenges that really shows their character.
It's about transparency, accountability, and a willingness to make things right, which ultimately builds trust.
And trust is everything when you're dealing with something as important as your home.
Okay, so let's take a step back. What's the big takeaway here? It seems like Dustin's Mechanical offers a comprehensive range of services. They seem to really care about customer satisfaction. They've got a skilled team and a good reputation in the New Egypt area.
They're tech-savvy, marketing smart, and seem to get the importance of transparency and accountability. But, this is just one piece of the puzzle. There's always more to learn.
True. And speaking of learning, their website probably have a ton more information, like blog posts, special offers, career opportunities, even financing options. It's worth checking out if you're serious about using them.
Definitely. But before we go down that rabbit hole, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. What does this exploration tell us about the home services industry in general? Are there any trends that Dustin's Mechanical seems to be reflecting or even leading?
That's a great question. It's clear that companies like Dustin's Mechanical are really adapting to the digital age. They're using technology to improve the customer experience and streamline their operations.
Yeah, we see it in their online booking system, their use of social media, even that our job map thing.
They're embracing online marketing, transparent communication, and using tech to connect with customers in new ways.
And they're recognizing the importance of like a holistic approach to home services. They're not just a one-trick pony. They offer a whole suite of solutions to meet the needs of modern homeowners.
It's not just about fixing a leaky faucet anymore, right? It's about providing peace of mind, convenience, and a seamless experience.
And as technology keeps evolving, we can expect to see even more innovation in this industry, with companies like Dustin's Mechanical potentially leading the charge.
So what does all this mean for you, the homeowner? It means you have more options than ever before, and you can demand a higher level of service and expertise.
Don't settle for mediocrity, right? Do your research, ask questions, and choose a company that aligns with your values and priorities.
Because the best home service providers aren't just technicians, they're partners in maintaining your home, which is, probably your most valuable asset.
Now, before we wrap up our look at Dustin's Mechanical, there's a pretty interesting trend emerging in the home services industry that I think is worth discussing.
Ooh, interesting. What trend are you talking about?
It's the growing emphasis on sustainability and energy efficiency.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
People are becoming more and more concerned about their environmental impact, and they're looking for ways to reduce their carbon footprint.
Right. With climate change becoming an increasingly pressing issue, it's only natural for people to want to make more eco-conscious choices, and that includes their home.
Exactly. And smart home services providers like, maybe Dustin's Mechanical, they're recognizing this shift and adapting their offerings accordingly.
So how is this trend actually showing up in the industry? Are we seeing any specific changes in the types of services and products being offered?
Definitely. There's a huge surge in demand for energy-efficient appliances, smart home tech, and renewable energy solutions.
Interesting, interesting. Can you give us some specific examples? I'm curious to see how these trends are being translated into practical solutions for homeowners.
For sure. High-efficiency HVAC systems are becoming really popular. They use less energy to heat and cool your home, which means lower utility bills and reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
That's a win-win for everyone, right? Lower costs and a smaller carbon footprint.
Absolutely. And then there's smart thermostats. They let you control your heating and cooling remotely, so you can optimize energy use and minimize waste.
Yeah, I've heard of those. They can even learn your habits and automatically adjust the temperature based on your schedule, right?
Exactly. And they provide insights into your energy consumption so you can see where you can save even more.
It's like having a personal energy coach right there in your house. Pretty cool. What about renewable energy solutions? Are those becoming more accessible for homeowners? I know solar panels have been around for a while, but they haven't always been the most affordable option.
You're right, but things are changing. Solar panels are becoming more affordable and more efficient, which means homeowners can generate their own clean energy and rely less on fossil fuels.
It seems like the home services industry is playing a pretty crucial role in this whole transition to a more sustainable future.
Absolutely. By offering eco-friendly products and services, they're giving homeowners the power to make choices that benefit both their wallets and the planet.
So what does all this mean for you, the listener? It means you have the power to make a difference in your own home by opting for more sustainable solutions.
Don't underestimate the impact of your choices. Every step you take towards energy efficiency and sustainability contributes to a healthier planet for everyone.
And remember, you don't have to go it alone. Reputable home services providers, like maybe Dustin's Mechanical, can help guide you through the process.
They can offer expert advice and find solutions that fit your needs and budget.
So, as you start thinking about your next home improvement project, consider the environmental impact of your decisions. Choose wisely, and together, we can create a more sustainable future.
That's a great message. It's inspiring to see how the home services industry is stepping up to meet the challenges of our time.
It is, and it reminds us that we all have a role to play in building a more sustainable and resilient world.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in our look at Dustin's Mechanical and the larger landscape of the home services industry.
We've talked about their services, their commitment to customers, their embrace of technology, and their role in promoting sustainability.
But before we move on, there's one more crucial aspect of Dustin's Mechanical that we need to address.
Oh, and what's that?
Their dedication to community engagement. They're not just a business, they're a real part of the New Egypt community.
That's a good point. It speaks to their values and their commitment to giving back.
Exactly. They actively participate in local events, support charities, and really try to make a positive impact beyond just their business operations.
Can you give us some specific examples of their community involvement? I'm always curious to see how companies are putting their values into action.
For sure, they sponsor youth sports teams, donate to local food banks, and participate in community cleanup initiatives.
That's great to hear. It shows they're invested in the well-being of their community and not just focused on profits.
And it's not just about writing checks either, right? They encourage their employees to volunteer their time and talents as well.
That's awesome. It creates a culture of giving back within the company.
So what does this tell us about Dustin's Mechanical? It tells us they're not just a service provider, they're a valued member of the New Egypt community.
They understand that their success is tied to the well-being of the community they serve.
And their commitment to community engagement isn't just an afterthought, it's part of who they are.
It's a sign of authenticity and a genuine desire to make a difference.
So, as you're considering your options for home services in the New Egypt area, remember that Dustin's Mechanical is more than just a company.
They're a neighbor, a partner, and a pillar of the community.
Their dedication to the community speaks volumes about their character and commitment.
And that's something worth keeping in mind when you're making your decision.
For sure. It's a factor that often gets overlooked, but it really tells you a lot about a company's values and long-term vision.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into Dustin's Mechanical.
We've explored their services, their commitment to customer satisfaction, their use of technology, their role in promoting sustainability, and their dedication to community engagement.
But before we wrap up this episode, let's leave you with a thought-provoking question.
Ooh, I like it. What question do you have for our listeners?
As we've seen, Dustin's Mechanical is a company that's constantly evolving, adapting to the changing needs of their customers and the community.
They're embracing innovation, prioritizing sustainability, and building strong connections with their neighbors.
So our question for you is this. What role do you think businesses should play in shaping a more sustainable and equitable future?
Should they just focus on providing goods and services, or do they have a responsibility to actively contribute to the well-being of their communities and the planet?
It's a tough question, no easy answers, but it's one we all need to think about as we navigate the challenges of the 21st century.
And as we've seen with Dustin's Mechanical, businesses can have a real positive impact when they embrace their role as responsible citizens.
So we encourage you to reflect on this question and consider how your own choices can contribute to a more sustainable and equitable future.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Dustin's Mechanical. We hope you've gained some valuable insights into the company, the home services industry, and the evolving role of businesses in our society.
And remember, the journey towards a better future starts with each of us making conscious choices and taking action.
It's amazing to see how a local company like Dustin's Mechanical is kind of like a mini version of all those big changes we've been talking about.
Yeah, it's like they're reflecting those global shifts, but on a smaller scale. As customers get more informed and expect more, businesses have to keep up, to stay competitive.
It's not just about offering a service anymore. People want their values to align with the companies they support. They want to back businesses that believe in the same things they do, like community, sustainability, ethical practices, all that.
And honestly, it's not just about being altruistic or anything. These things can actually make a real difference to a business's bottom line.
You're right. Customers are more likely to choose a company that shares their values, even if it means paying a bit extra. It's like putting your money where your mouth is, right? Supporting businesses that are trying to do good.
It's a kind of conscious consumerism that's becoming more and more common. And from a business standpoint, it's actually a pretty smart move. By embracing sustainability and community engagement, they're not just doing the right thing, they're also building trust and loyalty with their customers, creating a positive image for their brand.
It's a win-win situation for everyone involved.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Dustin's Mechanical, what are the big takeaways for our listeners? What should they be thinking about when they're trying to decide on their own home service needs?
Well, first off, we've seen how a local business can be a great example of how the home services industry is changing.
They're not just keeping up with the times, they're actually helping to shape the industry by, embracing technology, making customer satisfaction a top priority, and really weaving sustainability and community engagement into their core values.
And second, we've talked about how much power consumers really have. Your choices matter.
By choosing businesses that align with our values, we can influence the market and encourage other companies to adopt more sustainable and ethical practices.
And finally, we've explored the idea that businesses have a responsibility that goes beyond just offering goods and services.
They have the potential to be real forces for good in their communities and in the world as a whole.
So next time you're looking for a home service provider, or any business really, don't just look at the price.
Think about the company's values, their commitment to sustainability, their impact on the community.
And don't forget, you have the power to make a difference. By making informed choices, you can contribute to a world where businesses and communities can both thrive.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it helpful and informative.
And remember, creating a better future starts with each of us making conscious choices and taking action.
Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep making a difference.